Alright guys, what is up? Today we're going to be setting up our trading view. So I'm going to show you how I set up my trading view, what tools that I use. Okay, so I trade NASDAQ futures, I trade NQ. So this is just the NQ chart. That doesn't really matter today. What I'm really going to be going over is our tools. Okay, so I prefer, if you go up to the top left of our screen, I prefer to use this cross tool. And the reason I like to use it is because I can see when I put lines down on my charts, I can kind of see exactly where they're lined up, and it lets me just to find my levels a little easier. It's kind of nice. Okay, but if you don't like to use that, then I would just recommend using the arrow. So you use that arrow. You know, you don't have those lines. Sometimes it can be annoying for people to use this cross because it can make the charts a little cluttered when you're moving around. So then you could use this arrow, a lot simpler. Okay, but if you see down here, see how this thing is popping up? And that happens when I star them. So when you look at the cross right here and you star it, that's going to put it down on your tree right here. Okay, your object tree is going to pop up. You can move this tree wherever. You can put it to the left of your screen, to the right. I like to keep it down here where I can easily find it when I'm doing my charting. Okay, so if we go down to the next section where it says info line, or just this area, I star trend line. Okay, and what is a trend line? Well, it's easy. You want to see a trend, you can use that line to figure out your trends, right? It's just kind of a diagonal line, 45 degrees, whatever you want to use it for. I like to use it if I'm ever looking at trends, okay? The next one I look at, same section, is going to be the horizontal ray. Okay, I really like the horizontal ray. I use this, and the nice thing about this is, say you wanted to chart out a low like over here, it extends all the way over to the edge of the screen, so no matter how far you go to the right, it's always going to pop up, right? It's always going to be there all the way to the right. Okay, so I like using that. The cool thing about this too is you can type on it, right? You could say lows, for instance, okay? And where it says lows, see where it says text alignment? Right now it's at the middle, the center of this, but you could change it to the top and the left, or you could do the top right. So now it says lows on the top right. Okay, so you can adjust that with the horizontal ray. So I really like this tool, and it's one of the main ones that I use actually when I'm charting out like my liquidity levels, my highs and lows, my London highs and lows, and so forth. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at, it's going to be in the same section. It's going to be vertical line. Okay, so you can use this vertical line if you're trying to, you know, maybe you're a little confused by when the New York AM session is and the New York PM session is. You could use this vertical line to kind of basically just put something in the middle to where you know when the AM session ended and when the PM session starts, right? So you could use that for whatever you want to do. Any time frames you want to kind of section off, you could use this horizontal line. I don't use it much, but I do have it there just in case. Okay, the next thing we're going to go down to is the third section over here up on the top left. Alright, we're going to look at the fib retracement. So I'm going to start the fib retracement tool. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to be making a video about the fib retracement as well. But I'm an ICT trader, and this is one of the main tools that I use on a daily basis. Okay, so it's just our Fibonacci retracement. You're going to use that for certain levels, certain strategies. So this is one of the main tools I use. So if you're going to be trading ICT, I recommend having this on your object tree. And again, we'll get into the details of the fib retracement tool later, but definitely have that on there. Okay, looking through the third section, there's not really anything else I use on this third section, so we're going to move down to the fourth. The fourth, I don't really use any of these things either. Okay, I don't use any of these on the fourth. Okay, so let's move down to the fifth. On the fifth, I use a few. Okay, so we see where it says this long position. I'm going to star that, and what does this do? This long position tool tells me if I wanted to get in the longs, if I was trading the longs, notice how my bullish candles are white and my bearish candles are purple? Well, it's the same thing for this. if I want to get in the longs, this tool tells me how many ticks, right, or how many points, how the dollar amount of what I'm gonna take profit for, right? So like this would be the green, right? So if you have green and red candles, this would be the green, this would be the red. So it'll tell you how many ticks you can put your stop loss at. So like if we look at my screen, it says 75 ticks right here, okay? So say that was my stop loss. I could represent that on TradingView like this and say my take profit was 190 ticks. It says right here, 190 ticks, you can adjust it. It's really nice for when you're getting in trades to be able to keep track of how many ticks you want to put your stop loss, how many ticks you want to put limit orders or take profit levels. Okay, so same thing, we're going to go back to that same section, our fifth section, and we're going to look at the short position. Okay, so I started the short position. Same thing, if I wanted to get in a short trade, it's the same thing, it's just opposite now, okay? So going down, this would be when I'm in profit, this would be when I'm in the negative, right? So my stop loss would be up here, and my take profit level would be down here, okay? So same thing, just flipped for bearish trades. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to look through the fifth section again. There's one more thing that I use sometimes, and that would be the date range. Okay, so this date range, and the only thing I would use it for is the same thing as a horizontal line. But what's cool about this is you can go like this. So say you wanted to chart out like our AM or PM New York session, you could use this, right? And you could go from 9:30, okay? So that's 9:30, and you could go all the way to 4 p.m., right? Okay, so that's our New York session right here. Okay, so this is a cool tool you can use to kind of understand where each session is, and you can also use like different colors on it. So if you wanted to make it green, right, you could make it green. If you wanted to make it red, you can make it red. However you want to do that, you can also type on the bottom. You could say New York session, and then you could change the color of this, right? So I just changed it to white, and look how down here it says New York session. Okay, you can also extend the top, right? Or you could take away the top. So extend the top makes the lines go all the way. You extend the bottom makes the lines go all the way down. Notice how it does that. So I like to just keep it extended to the top, and then I'll adjust it side to side like that. But that's how you use this tool, and it can be very helpful if you are struggling to understand when certain sessions are done, so that you can do your charting for those specific sessions. So yeah, it's super helpful. One tool I like to use. Okay, so we're going to move on. So we just finished the fifth section. Okay, so it's long position, short position, date range. Okay, so now we're going to move down to the sixth section. And here's a lot of different things you can use. So one that I like to use is the arrow, and this is more for when I'm doing like teaching lessons or want to point out specific levels. So you could do this and look at that arrow. It points out specific levels. Again, you can change the colors, you can extend, you can do all of these different things with this arrow. It's pretty cool, right? If I want to make my arrow red, I can do that. Yeah, so the arrow is something I like to use, right? If I'm trying to teach a lesson, help people understand specific levels, I'll do that. Okay, so we're gonna go back to that same section. You could also use the arrow marker. I don't really use this, but it does make it a little more like out there, a little easier to see. So you could also use this one. You could change the color on it too, but it makes it just more bold. So you could use that one as well. Okay, I'm gonna move down. This is one of the most important things that I use is the rectangle, okay? So what I use this rectangle for is for charting out my levels, my imbalances, my order blocks, and so forth. Okay, so if I see an imbalance here, I would use this like that. And here's a few different things you can do with this rectangle tool. Is you can have a middle line on it, and that's going to help you in ICT trading when you're looking for mitigation, you're looking for consequent encroachment, which just basically means going to like the 50% level of a certain PD array. So like this one, you could take the middle line off of it, you could just have the rectangle. I like to have the middle line because I like to know where price is going. Sometimes it goes to that 50% level, so it's nice to have. You can also take away the background. You can put the background a specific color. right? You could make it yellow, you could keep it white, you could do blue, whatever you want to do. So this tool is super helpful. You could also extend it right, you could extend it left, okay? I like to just keep it how it is without extending it because I like to move it like this, right? So I can put it to how far I want it, how far I like it on my charts. Okay, so this rectangle tool, super helpful. The other cool thing about it, you can go to text and you can type, right? So if I wanted to put bearish fair value gap like that, okay, so you could do that. You could put the text on top of the box, inside, on the bottom. I keep it inside in the center, but you could also do inside left, inside right. Okay, I keep it inside center, but it's pretty cool. Really nice tool to use. So that's what I use that for. Super helpful. And guys, let's keep looking at the same section. I don't normally use this, but you could also use this for trends. The rotated rectangle. Here's what you could use it for. All right, you could go from this trend up, and then like that, right? So you could kind of figure out what the trend is. Is it bouncing? I don't really use this tool, but it could be helpful for you if you really look at trends. Okay, we're going to move on from that one. The next thing I like to use, and this is more for teaching as well, is the path. And what's cool about this tool, and what I'll use it for, is teaching people what price will likely do, right? So forth. Like, is price going to move up? It's just a cool teaching tool, really helpful to figure out, start getting an idea of what price is going to do without having to look, with all these wicks and stuff get in the way. It just kind of teaches you exactly what price does, how it's structured. Okay, so that's another one I use. Going down the list, there's not much else. Something I do like to use is the circle. The circle just helps me highlight certain levels, right? If you wanted to look at a specific level and come back to your charts later to see what happened, you could use that circle level. You could change the colors on this, right? You can make the edge of it red. You can make whatever you want to do. It's a cool tool just to point out and highlight specific levels that you like. Okay, so other than that, on here I don't really use anything else. The only other thing I really use is the text. Okay, so that's going to be on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th section on the left is this text right here. And what's cool about this is you can go like that. You can type whatever you want. Alright, so if I wanted to say equal highs, right, let's say I wanted to say equal highs here. Boom, I can move that around. I could put that here. I can make the text smaller. I could make it a different color. I could have a different background, right? I can make it, different colors like that, and so forth, okay? So that's a pretty cool tool. And the last thing I want to talk about with Tradingview, okay, so I just finished with all the tools, and look how the link tree, or not link tree, but object tree is now down here. You can also change where you put your objects, right? If you don't like them in certain levels or certain areas, you can kind of change them, swap them out. So that's also nice. You could keep it up top if you want, right over here, wherever you want to keep it. I like to keep it down here, preferably. Okay, and the other thing that's going to be important to look at is over here. If you go down on the left side of your screen, you see this magnet right here? Okay, it's going to say weak magnet, strong magnet. Okay, I like to click strong magnet, and what that's going to do is, look at that. So if I zoom in and I wanted to put that same fair value gap here with this rectangle, look how when I put it here, it sticks to certain levels. Look how it sticks to certain levels and it gets your levels exact. So if you want to get your levels exact, you use this magnet and it's going to stick to these levels. Okay, so if you want it to go from this low to this low, perfect. You don't have to just like guess where it's at, because without the magnet on, look at now I have to go in, I have to lean in, I have to look at that exact level, and I'm never going to get it exactly right every time. Okay, so if you use that magnet, it really helps you figure out those levels, get them exact. Same thing with like a line. Say I wanted to use my line over here, my horizontal ray. Well, look at here. Boom, just stuck to that. Look at how it's sticking to different levels. Just like that, I want to put it up here. It sticks to them, right? So it's a magnet to these levels. So that's what I like about it. So I definitely encourage using that magnet tool. You could use weak or strong magnet. I use the strong magnet, But yeah, this is basically how I set up my TradingView. These are all the tools I use on a daily basis for teaching, for trading, for charting, whatever it may be. This is how I set it up. So I hope this video was helpful. And yeah, I hope you have a good one.